nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to year 4 of SA Soccer Roundtable. Joining me tonight is Rafa. Royce, unfortunately, unable to attend tonight, but either next week or 2 weeks from now, depending on the schedule, hopefully he'll be able to return. And hope everybody's well with him and his family for that here. So, Rafa, New Year.
Happy New Year.
Freezing your cojones off, we'll just say here. You can always tell when high school season starts because it gets cold.
Yeah, I think the North Face needs to sponsor us so we can be out there at the games. So North Face, if you're watching us, send us some jackets and some thermals.
So tonight's going to probably be, I say this every time, probably a shorter episode. Unfortunately, what I had planned today didn't go as I thought, and I just got in now, so I didn't really prep a whole lot for the show. But Rafa has been scouring San Antonio, getting some first glimpse of some high school soccer, and I know it's week 1. It's the showcases and
Tournament.
We don't want to be like NCAA, football and put out AP rankings, right at the start. Well, I guess we did the Power 15 based on,
which is fine,
preseason and last year, but we're going to give it a couple of weeks before we bring back the Power 15 to see how teams cycle through, especially with, unfortunately, COVID going strong. So players in and out and battling like that here. I saw a couple of games get canceled. So, Rafa, we'll start with you and kind of tell me, about your week of high school soccer.
Oh, it's been since the start of the new year. So if you've caught me on our Facebook page, some live games, quite a few games. Saturday, I was at 4 games
I saw that
from morning till dusk, but they were great games, and so it's always to kind of showcase the soccer that we have in this town, and we're still going to showcase a lot more. Hopefully, we get out to, like I said, we're just not going to go to certain teams and so forth. I'm gonna share the love with everybody here in this town and feature some of the teams that maybe don't get those opportunities and stuff. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And yeah, this week was a pretty interesting week. There's a kickoff week. I know it's still early to see who's going to come out. I know there's some sites are trying to do their hot lists or their rankings, and
you gotta have them, buddy. You gotta have them.
For me, it's like it's too early, and they're gonna have their bracketology already, and we haven't even started district play. So no, so what do you want to do is more of an analysis part. We want to analyze the teams, because right now, for me, having that, being in that coaching area, coaching in high school, it takes time to kind of build chemistry. You're still trying to figure out who's your starting 11, what rotation you're going to do, and so forth. And these games, these early on games right before district play, those are your tune-ups to see, okay, what works and what doesn't work. And you don't get a full characterization of what that team's going to do further down the road. So, like I said,
does district start this week though?
I know from north side they do, because if you're in a 10-team district, Yeah, you're right off the bat. You're gonna have, unless you have a bye, but like you're
It's
right
like
off
that
the bat. Monday, Tuesday.
Monday, Tuesday looks, just looking at the schedule.
Mhm.
It looks like, at least for Northside, looks like, they've got matches both on the boys and girls, and then, the weekend, the Southwest tournament, Lake Travis tournament, Harlandale tournament, Judson tournament. At least that's for the boys, and then for the girls, Southwest tournament, any ISD tournament. I thought they just had that, but
Yeah,
I
that
guess
was gonna be a showcase for the girls.
Corpus Christi for Brennan, Edgewood, SAI SD tournament.
For the
So
girls.
yeah, so a
Yeah,
couple of
so
teams are going away.
yeah, so it's like I said, some are still trying to figure out who they are. And like I said, but like for some, they are in those 10 team or 19 districts. They're already going to start district play. So right off the bat, they can't. There's really no room for error, when it comes to that. So just to kind of go over some of the games this week. One of the big games I went to was on the couple of days after the New Year was a very interesting matchup. Always when you have a Valley team come up and play a San Antonio team, it's going to be a great game. And so we had our defending 6A state champs, San Antonio League, go up against our former state champ in the past. Very good program with Brownsville Porter. So they took the forward drive to San Antonio. They're at Comalander, and it was a great game. It was back and forth. Lee did dominate pretty much most of the game, but like I said, Porter held their own, and Lee kind of missed a few chances. There's one miss over the crossbar, and Porter did have one good chance, just was wide. So basically, it was like a heavyweight boxing fight, but it was a good test for both teams, and they ended up with a 0-0 tie. So that was, like I said, that was a good matchup for both teams. That kind of, that could be if Porter was a 6A team, you could see that as like a 6A regional final game, at any time. And then after that game, I went across to Blossom, walked over there to catch a couple other games. I saw the Reagan and Simpson Valley, two powerhouse teams. That maybe are going to challenge Lee this year for in the region. And what a great game by Reagan. I was really impressed watching them in that first half. They really took it to Simpson Valley, and lots of speed, lots of real physical, great getting the ball up the field quick. And they led. I think they led 4-0 at the half, and I think they ended up 5-0 at the end of the game. Great talent. I think they have a chance to kind of the challenge Lee, and then I went to the game next to that. They're at Blossom East, and we had Johnson versus Clemens, and Clemens was another contender from last year. But I was very impressed by Johnson. Johnson really took it to them. Even with a man down, they still, took it to them. And I was impressed by Johnson, like I said. And I think Johnson might be in that mix for that, for the district. I'm trying to get my numbers right. District 28 6A. So it's going to be probably a 3-team race in that district. It's going to be it's going to be more competitive than it was last year. So they have 3 good contenders with Johnson, Lee, and Reagan for that district. I think for 27 6A, I think Spencer Valley, I think they'll be up there with Clemens. I think those two will be battling out for that district title. And then Friday, like I said, went to a game here at Ferris. Went to check out, give the girls soccer team some love. Went to see Marshall versus Southwest Legacy. Pretty good, even game. It was back and forth. Marshall did get one early and were able to hold on. And like I said, Legacy almost had a chance to equalize, but just missed wide. And and then I stayed on for another half for a game. It was getting too chilly for that day, so I stayed in for the Stevens and Brandeis game for the first half. And Brandeis, they opened up the goal scoring, and they impressed me. They had a really good game. And because Stevens, like I said, I remember you and I went to go see them last year in the playoffs games against Del Rio. I can't tell you, even though they lost in this game, I can tell that there was some improvement with that team, with much more
Well, they got a new coach.
Yes, and she's made a
I forget the
difference.
lady's name, but I think she came from Reagan.
Yes, and she's made a difference for that team, and like I said, it's still early on, but I did see a lot of a little bit better technical play than I saw from last year. So she's got them on the right direction, and I think Stevens will be fine, and I think they'll be up there, contending for a playoff spot and maybe even the district titles once everything kind of gels in together.
Any thoughts on the ladies' side?
Just like I said, I know I got some info for as far as with the showcases, some of the games from Coach Cano from the 50-50 podcast. We're texting each other some of the results and so forth. I know he was out there in shirts and Cibolo. He saw some great games out there. He said he was very impressed by this one. By that Johnson Brennan game, it was back and forth, and I know Johnson prevailed 3-2. He was impressed by Steele. They had a good game as well. Lee was out there. I know Lee beat my alma mater. They beat them 3-1. I know Johnson beat them 9-0. So that was eye opening there. But good for Johnson. That shows just how good that team is. So looking at as far as, and then he did send me some information about the Spencer Valley tournament for the girls, which Spencer Valley did beat Canyon. And like I said, we had Spencer Valley as our preseason power ranking number 1. I know they had a bump in the road actually Tuesday night against O'Connor. Actually, O'Connor knocked them off. Like I said, I think they'll bounce back for that. So it's pretty wide open with the girls as far as who's going to be the team to beat, but also who's going to be the one that's going to contend against Lake Travis, Austin Westlake, and there was looking right now Vandergrift, the team that did win the region and made it all the way to the state finals. I did see some of the results they did. They went 2-0-1, so. And they beat a couple of hefty teams, and also they tied a really good Allen team. So the girls here have their work cut out as far as trying to close that gap and see they can knock one of those Austin team ups to get into the state tournament for this year. And then I know we had some teams out that were out of town. I know the Reagan girls went out, I think, to Houston or to the Woodlands. I think they did well there. I know we had the O'Connor girls. After that big win over Simpson Valley, they went to the Valley. I think they took care of some business down there. They beat a very good McAllen team. So, like I said, we have some contenders here. We have about, I can say, maybe about 7 teams that, they could challenge some of these Austin Grove teams coming up in the playoffs so that hopefully they can break through and get to the state tournament.
And I thought Bernie Champion, they went up to, the national, The National Elite Prep Showcase. Their Saturday match, I don't think got played for it, just looking at the scores for it here, but they tied Plano West 1-1, and then they tied Flower Mound 0-0, both quality opponents. Antonian also played a couple of matches up there. They lost 6-1 to Denton Geyer, but they did beat Arlington Heights 3-1, and it doesn't say the result for their Saturday match here. Saturday match for that here. So I thought it was for the San Antonio ladies and for the boys that. As you mentioned, for this week, it's more about seeing what you have. And I know, a couple of teams posted scrimmage results and along those lines and for that here. And then do want to also give a shout out. I think it was Hondo, right, is playing their first games.
Yeah, I think the boys won their first ever game.
And I want to give a shout out to, I think it was Medina Valley that stepped up because
missed the game against Kennedy. Yep.
Had a cancellation, and those two got to play very, very last minute, which Medina Valley, I believe, won if I remember the score correctly.
I think it's Coach Payne in Medina Valley. It's still Coach Payne. Shout out to you guys. I remember him going against him when he was in Uvalde.
So, but like I said, it's an exciting weekend. I wish the weather was a little bit better. You know, it was cold and wet and you know, along those lines here. And I know, especially those early 9 o'clock games, I know a few of them unfortunately got canceled due to weather. You know, and along those lines here. But we're just getting started, buddy.
Yeah, and like I said, looking at it, also with the 5A girls, you know, with Bernie Champion going up there, you know, those two results those are good results for them because those are two high power Class 6A teams that have been in state finals, and to tie them is really good. It's a good stretch for them because they have this defending 5A girls state champions in their district, which is Dripping Springs, which I actually got to see a few weeks ago against Swinson Valley. So that's going to help them in the long run, and also, like I said, I think the Alamo Heights girls also they had a good you know weekend as well. So we had a lot of good stuff done, you know, from their 5A girls teams. Like I said, you know, the Richmond Springs is going to be the team to beat for 5A girls, but like I said, Bernie Champion and Alamo Heights are going to be in the mix. And I think I said we have other ones, you know, possible contenders like maybe like the Southwest girls. I know last year we had like a couple, you know, like SAISD teams like Lady Mustangs from Jefferson. They could be a contender. So it's a good mix. And then down to the 4A, you know, the Bernie girls, like I said, you know, hopefully they'll be able to bounce back, you know, from that tough loss to Cal Allen, and I heard that Cal Allen didn't do so well down on their tournament down in the valley. So hopefully, like I said, the Bernie girls will bounce back. But then you have other contenders. You know, you have that Davenport team that's bringing everybody back, and they're a sleeper team. And so you know that's one team you got to look out for. So I think 4A girls is little wide open, but I still, like I said, I'm going to give the notch. I think Bernie girls will bounce back for that. And then for the 5A boys, like I said, what can you say about Southwest? You know, they had some very good results. They blanked Churchill, they blanked MacArthur. I think I forgot who were their. I don't know if they had a third opponent. I don't know if they have that or not. I'm trying to see.
Hold on, I can pull it up real quick here.
But they had really good results, and you know, going in to this showcase, and I think hopefully, like I said, they keep that momentum up. And like I said, I did get to see them play against Central Catholic, and I was impressed. Like I said, just the movement of the ball, the touch, and especially the forward play. I do know one of the forwards.
So Southwest played Laredo Alexander on Monday.
And they tied
3-3. Then on the 7th, the weekend they roughed up teams. There's no other way to code it. They defeated Churchill 6-0 and MacArthur 8-0. So along those lines here, but they're going to be going down this weekend to the Brownsville tournament, which was they're going to be doing the Southwest tournament. No, they are going down. Going down to the Brownsville tournament because they play Brownsville Porter on Thursday, Brownsville Vets Memorial on Friday, and then Port Isabel on Saturday. And that was going to lead my question to you is your biggest issue in this, you know, the reason why I'm asking is because we talk about Southwest, and this has been an issue with Southwest, but, you know, that's kind of in general here. If you want to tee into Southwest, because we were just talking about them, but for the programs that have a good team, and I know it's still early, would you like them to, you know, play in the showcases or tournaments that's, you know, here in San Antonio, or would you like to see them go up to Austin or Dallas or down to the Valley or, you know, over to Houston, or out, you know, and this is a shout out to Coach Cano, out west to El Paso, because there is quality out there. You know, any thoughts on, and I know it's a money issue, you know, let's just be honest about it here. But any thoughts on, you know, if you're a team that looks like it's going to be pushing for playoffs, should they be making these trips outside of just playing, you know, locally, or do they bring enough talent locally to take that step?
It's not necessarily pushing for the playoffs. It's more pushing to break through the state tournament, because a lot of those teams, like I said, you saw what the Bernie Champion girls play. They played two teams that have won state championships or perennial state contenders each year in 6A. So if you're gonna break through, you have to probably play those type of level teams, and there's some good tournament, and that's why you saw like Reagan go up there to that the North Texas showcase. Same thing with Clemens. Clemens, going to them, they knocked off the state runner up, which was Rockwall Heath. So those are the type of team. If you're gonna make that next step, and it's kind of the same cliche like with college football. If you're gonna take that next step, like if Cincinnati wants to take that next step, well, you need to start scheduling like the Alabamas and the Auburn, the Alabamas and the
They won't
LSU.
play them.
They won't play them, but you have to take that next step. But I mean, going to the Valley, that's going to help them because that's been their kryptonite. They've lost to Valley View. They lost to them last year, which to me, I think they should have beaten them. Valley View, I didn't think was a good team. I basically saw them when I saw them here against Kingwood Park. They were just playing kickball, and they just got lucky their guy got ripped behind them and scored goals. Southwest is more technically based team that can wear you down with passes and so forth and get up the field. So hearing that schedule where they're going to for that showcase, they're going to go down there. A good tune-up is going to be Porter. Porter's going to be a good test because Porter, look what they did with Lee. They tied Lee. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be, if they can get a good result and if they can do what they did with MacArthur and Churchill, then you can say, hey, okay, now we have a team that's going to take that next step and get into that state tournament. And then also then Veterans Memorial, they're a very dangerous team, and they have the talent too as well. I don't think that they should have no problem with Port Isabel. Like I said, Port Isabel's I think we're 4A. I think there's still a young program, but like I said, the Porter Memorial Veterans Memorial matchup, those are good two quality games, and that's gonna say where you're at, where you're going to be at, as far as your team. And then, as I said, are we going to be able to take that next step? Because the more likely they're going to see them in the playoffs, since they go to that south route, they don't go through that Austin route. They're going to see, some of those teams. And then, like I said, hopefully, then eventually they could see if they get to the regional tournament, they may see a Cedar Park or Dripping Springs or Bernie Champion or Alamo Heights and so forth. So kudos. Like I said, I think you have to take that. In order for you to take the next step to be in the state championship level teams, you got to play. You got to play the big boys, and I think sometimes you do need to go out. I know we have some big boys here, but you want to play teams that have more technical sound. Mm-hmm. And you know how some of the club soccer down over there in Dallas is one of the best. Like I said, with that FC star player signing with Osprey Pepe, just giving him as an example. So you're going to see those type of players. That are technically sound. They're going to give you a game, and that's a good measuring stick of how good your program is.
So, and then with the soccer season here, I just want to make sure we touch base. I know we work a lot with Coach Kano in the 50/50 podcast, which you can follow him at 50_50 pod. And then another one who's kind of stepped up this year is the SA Boys High School 6A Soccer. They're at 6A_28. Both of those have been doing a great job along with us of trying to get scores and information out on the teams. Lethal Enforcer out of Houston also does an outstanding job of putting information out. If you can, if you are at one of the games, through that here are coaches. If you can tag at the score result at 2-2 or hashtag 210 soccer scores or hashtag TXHS sock scores for that here. That way we can help, if you got highlights. I've been seeing today, highlights of games, goals, stops by the goalkeepers. I know you had some videos out there, but if we can all kind of share and highlight the players, because let's be honest, highlighting players, highlighting teams is really how teams get attention, and you might find somebody out there that you want to go out and see. But I want to give a shout out to the 6A Boys High School 6A Soccer, and of course Coach Kano with the 50/50 podcast. Always great to work with you guys for that here, and hopefully, especially when we get to the playoffs here, we'll have each of you on, and I'm sure we'll have Coach Kano on before that here. So, any final thoughts?
Well, I actually got to go to his game on Thursday night.
Coach Kano, yes.
Tuesday night, yeah. Then where they played against, and I'm going to thank St. Mary's Hall
Brentwood
for their hospitality, let them be up there to videotape the game against Brentwood Christian, and that was a hell of a game. And I think one of the players scored 7 goals that game, so she almost broke the city record. It's like she was close, so. It's like she's probably the leading scorer right now for San Antonio. So I know they had a little setback on Friday, but I heard what you told me that they came back and they were down, but they came back and made it to a game. And I know he's down 4 starters, so they should hopefully be back pretty soon. So I think they're in good shape to make the TAPS playoffs and hopefully make a long deep run this year. And also I was at the Alamo Heights tournament. Shout out to the Harlan boys. Great game. I mean, they took it to Arlington Heights. They, were the class, as far as in that touching the ball, getting up the field. I know they had to figure them out a little bit. They're playing Arlington Heights playing the little park the bus, but they were able to get through. And shout out to them because I took a little videos and pictures of them. So, congrats to them. And I'm sure, like I said, they start district play on Tuesday. So a lot, like I said, there was a lot of great soccer this weekend, and like I said, hopefully I'll get to go to some games on Monday and Tuesday. I will be out this weekend. I won't be able to go to some turns. I have some business to take care of out west.
So work.
No, it's all actually I'm selling a vehicle, so I gotta take care of that. Shout out to Familia Segura 5 from Laredo. I'll be there. I'll be in Laredo in early March and hopefully possibly in February. So I might catch some games down there. So you can probably see me there with the phone. So maybe they're at the Student Activity Center or at Kruger Field. So if you see me there, say a shout out to there. So nice. Thank you guys for being on the show. So, but yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get to go to some games this week. Like I said, this week, and then. Like I said, the following week, I think Martin Luther King week, like I said, I will be out in Austin, but I might try to catch some games over there. I'm kind of curious to see some of these teams. I know there is a big game coming up that week when I'm over there, and I wish it was in Austin, but it's going to be actually in Spencer Valley. The Spencer Valley boys are going to go up against Lake Travis. So that's going to be a pretty good matchup. So you're in San Antonio. Take a trip to Spring Branch. Like I said, I think it's on January the 19th. I think the game between Lake Travis and it's a Thursday night game. I think it's the 20th. It's between those two teams. So if you had a chance, check it out.
So with and this might, I don't know how much you've looked at the schedule for this week here, but any thoughts on this upcoming schedule for this week here? Any games that I know you're not going to be in town, but any games that you think should if you have the opportunity to go out to?
I know for the tournaments or showcases, the girls Northeast ISD showcase is going to be a good one. You're going to have some quality teams there, so if you have an opportunity to go to that one, Thursday, Friday, Saturday games. I know Northside starts district play, so there's going to be some very interesting district games coming up. I don't know who's on the schedule. Trying to figure out where on the schedule where they're at.
I got the girls here. So the girls, Holmes are Taft at Ferris at 5 on Tuesday. At Gustafson, you've got Marshall at home against Stevens. You got Jay hosting O'Connor at soccer number 1, and that's at 7:00. And then at 5:00, you got Harlan hosting Brennan, which on soccer number 2. And then if memory serves me right, they flip. This is the girls, so you would have the boys
play at 7.
Play at 7 for Harlan, Brennan. Boys play at 5 for Jay and O'Connor. Boys play at 5 for Marshall and Stevens, and then Holmes and Taft, you'd have the ladies play at 7 here. So to me, the Gustafson area, if you're able to go to Gustafson, especially where they have the soccer 1, soccer 2, one price gets you in, and you're able to catch 4 games in that window for that here. So
yeah, that Harlan, who's Harlan playing that?
Brennan.
Harlan Brennan, that for boys and girls, that's gonna be a very interesting matchup to start district play. And those are contenders right there for the district title.
And then I did forget Warren plays Wagner at Wagner High School at 7 for that here. Let me check I don't know if the boys play that here. Hold on 1 second. I got the Excel sheet here. I do want to give a heads up or a shout out to Northside, because they do make the soccer schedule very easy, unlike the Northeast and the others for that here. So yeah, Warren girls are not playing. Yeah, the Warren girls are not playing on that Tuesday night for that here.
So they have a buyout on that day.
Yeah. So they're because they're the odd team out, and because Wagner's over in the NEISD, right?
No, the ones in the NEISD is Brandeis and Clark.
Well, no, Wagner.
Wagner's with the Judson ISD.
Yeah, so but
they don't start district play till I think a couple weeks more.
The 18th, yeah.
Yeah. So that coming up pretty soon.
So probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks out from the Power 15. You think?
Yeah. We want to see what after the smoke clears, everything kind of settles. We don't want to be too premature. I know we see some other sites that kind of put premature their lists and so forth. We want to see.
Nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with that. But for us, like I said, we want to take a more of an approach. Like I said, we want to analyze each team, and we want to see what comes from it. I know last year we did get some flack.
We got bit by that.
Yeah, we played this team and we played that team. Well, how come they're? So that's the approach we're gonna do. Once the dust settles and we're already starting district play, then I'll see some friends. Minus Taps, because Taps is already in district play, but we're gonna have a Power 15 for the boys and the girls, and we'll see who's really a contender or who's a pretender, and we'll, like I said, we'll keep them updated, and then like I said, we'll figure out who ends up making the playoffs, and towards I think we're mid-March is when the district season ends, and then right after spring break I think the playoffs begin. So be on the lookout for that.
So in lower league action, if you haven't been following, the Athenians have already started, highlighting players possibly for the upcoming year. I've talked to, David with Central Texas, the Hornets, and also the Austin Elite. Danny with Austin Elite. Looks like the league's going to be another fun-filled league. There'll be some adjustments and some changes as always, but with the UWS, it is looking like it's going to be another fun season for them. But switching to San Antonio FC. So last we had, and we won't go into a lot of detail on the technical side, but we'll kind of talk about it when Royce returns next week or the following week here. We had Patino and Dylan that were signed, and Leo and Jose. Leo Torres returned from loan, and Jose Gallegos was on the return here. So First question is with Jose because the transfer window is open. It's been open about a week. You kind of surprised we haven't heard anything?
I have a feeling that he's probably going to get the transfer window in the summer. I think they're going to, if they haven't done it now, more likely it's going to be in the summertime. I think he's going to play. I think maybe teams are wanting to see maybe a little bit more and see what he does this first half of the season. And then they'll pull the trigger, midway into our season. I mean, it'd be nice if they would do it now, so that way San Antonio can find, it's kind of be hard to replace him, but and it's also be a benefit for him to already kind of get to work over there and do what he needs to do wherever he gets signed at. So. We don't know if that process could be already taken, or we just don't know. He could already be being looked at, and they're probably be working on a contract. And
the summer window is traditionally the bigger window, right?
Yeah.
So, especially if you're trying to go over to Europe, the winter window isn't. You get player movement, but it's not as busy because teams are in season and. I'm assuming to go from the United States over to there, happen to clear with the COVID restrictions and all of that stuff. The paperwork takes time, so I would like to see him go because I think for San Antonio FC it's better. But if he's going abroad, going between now and summer, probably not that big of a difference, right?
Well. I think for right now, like if you take for example, like Coutinho being moved over from Barcelona to Aston Villa, that was more for a need. Like I need a player now that will make an impact. In Jose's case, is more because of his development. I think he's probably better off leaving in the summer because, if he goes to a team, and then let's say that they don't do well, then they change coaches, and then. You know how that fiasco goes. You might fall out of the favor from the new coach, and you're not playing. And so I think it's probably best for him to leave in the summer window because at least he'll know that whoever he's getting signed, the coach, that staff wants him to be on that squad.
Do you think it affects the fee that much going between now and then? I know we think of it like, with MLS, hey, it's the start of their season, so you're going to get more of a fee now because you're going to have a full season. But over in Europe, most of them are halfway-ish through their year. Do you think, the fee that they would pay because, now he's got a year left in his contract compared to 6 months?
Mm-hmm. I think SAFC is going to be able to command more of the transfer fee. I think in the summer than more in the winter time. And like I said, I think they want to put him in a good situation that, like I said, if they did it now, and then he falls out of favor, if they make changes to that new team or coach, basically we just kind of throw him under the bus for that. We don't want to do that to him. I think the summer window is best for him because it's basically kind of like when you have your free agent season, and plus it gives him time to really he'll have
adjust, right?
Some time to adjust, going into Europe, but also he's already going to be in game ready because, now that, I guess it kind of out of the bag with the season starting in March, he's going to have maybe
2-3 months of
2 or 3 months of games, and that's also going to help some other maybe there's some new suitors will say, hey, they'll take a notice that, hey, maybe we do, we want him. So now you start a bidding war, and SAFC is going to sell him to the highest bidder. And that's what's that's what they're.
I'm going to throw a wild card to you. Mexico. Is there any chance you could see him go to Mexico? I can see Mexico. Now would be the time to do it, right? Because they haven't kicked off yet.
No, they already did kick off.
Oh, they kicked off already?
Yeah. Like Club America, most of the teams started this week. But remember, they finished their season in May, so they have that preseason. You know how we had Pumas and Querétaro come over here. So that'll probably be the prime time if he's going to go down to Liga MX. that's when he's probably going to get signed around, because they do start the season in like around mid-July. So, and like I said, they probably would, if he is going to go in there, he's already going to be in game shape already, and they can plug him in right away. Whether he's going to be a starter or off, more like I said, from off the bench, but they're going to plug him in into their, I guess in their system and so forth. So, I think
Is there a team you think he could walk in and start with? Obviously not Club America, but
well, you never know, Solari. I mean, one thing about, like I said, since I was part of Club Americas with their academy, I know this weekend they had about 6 players on the bench that were from their academy team. So getting called up, there are possibilities that can get called up. But I think if he's gonna, and like I said, he'll play probably for like the U23 teams or the sub teams, in which he'll get the playing time there. But if he's gonna get into like if he's gonna be in the first team, realistically, I would have him play like maybe like a lower team, that since they don't have the regular promotion or regulation now. Playing like a team with Querétaro will be a good fit for him, because he'll get playing time there. Mazatlán, Atlético San Luis.
What about Juarez?
Juarez would be another one. The only thing is,
we don't want him loaning him to El Paso.
El Paso, yeah. Yeah, so there's some teams like Pachuca's another one. Pachuca's very good at developing players, and you see some of them, and maybe even I'm trying to think, Atlas. They're the champs, but they do develop players. You have Rafa Marquez, and just to name him. So
if you were Jose, would you lean Mexico, because it is a higher tier, especially if you're going first division? Now, if you're going second division, staying in USL championships, probably there, or Europe?
If it allows, like I said, it's going to depend on which European league. If he gets to go to Portugal or Holland, then I go to those. That's a no-brainer. A Bundesliga would probably be maybe.
That's where a lot of Americans do end up.
Yeah, a lot of Americans do that. Now Liga MX, if you go there, like I said, a lot of Liga MX players have ended up in Europe. They're playing in Portugal, they're playing in Holland, they're playing in Italy or Spain, and even in England. So, like I said, there is a good track record. I know, like Club Americas, they do sell a lot of players to Europe. Same thing with Monterrey, with Pachuca and Tigres. So it's gonna go where he's gonna get the best playing time and also the best opportunity to end up getting to our first team. I think that's where he needs to. I think wherever he goes to, that's where he needs to get some guarantees of, hey, I want to get some playing time to get better. But if he does go to Europe,
still hasn't made the 18 with the team over in Portugal.
Yeah, well, so. I think SAFC needs to make a phone call and say, hey, you think you can love him out back over here? If you ain't gonna play him, hey, send him over here for a loan. It'd be nice. But I think that's the something thing. Jose can look into, talk to Pirano and say, hey, he can look into that situation and see, maybe that might not be the first, best place to go to, just firsthand, So I think, like I said, I think hopefully, like I said, SAFC does what's best for him. That's what matters the most. What's best for him, that he's going to end up developing, and he's going to do well. We don't have a situation that he goes somewhere and then the team falls apart or they're just not playing him. No, he needs to go somewhere that's going to play him, and hopefully gets up. Even if he goes to like a second division team, that'd be fine too. If he's going to get playing time there, and hopefully maybe that team moves up to kind of like the situation with Nathan. His team is now in the City A for Brazil. So, they were able to move up from the second division. So those are some scenarios I think he needs to really look at before he signs anywhere.
So we'll kind of go over the transactions here. First off, El Capitan, PC, Victor Guerrero signed to a magically a multi-year contract for that here. So I'm excited to see that multi-year contract. Obviously we all know what PC means to the team. It'll be his third and at least fourth year with us here. So thoughts on PC coming back?
That's your heart and soul of the team right there. He makes his team run, so I'm glad to have him back. And just his experience and stuff, it's gonna carry pretty much carry the ship with us and get things going for us. So we're happy to have him back because he means the world to this club.
The next one that was announced was Mohamed Abu, who signed mid-season. Had a pretty good impact, I thought, especially in the defensive midfield for that here. A veteran, also signed on a multi-year contract as well. Your thoughts on what Mohamed brings to the team? I know we only got to see him for the second half of the season for that here, but your thoughts on the 30-year-old midfielder coming in?
Well, remember he was a trialist in those Liga MX games, yes. But he was impressive, and whoever scouted him, kudos to that person. Hopefully, they gave him a raise because once when PC went down and we plugged him in, he was on. He took full advantage of and then having both of them play at the same time. What a deadly midfield that we have. You can kind of compare that with Modric and Casemiro and Kroos. That's kind of how I see them. They have that chemistry, So I'm glad that we have them back. So I think in the Western Conference we have the best midfielders, with Abu and PC.
On the defensive, but PC is going to be more
on the wing. But the thing is, PC is versatility. Yeah, so you can plug them in the middle with them. You can put both of them in the middle. So just like I said, getting those two to sign with us, especially with the surprise. Now we're doing multi deals. So kudos to the SAFC. I think they finally learned. Hey, I think we need to.
I think that's part of it. But I think the bigger issue on why we're seeing more multi-year deals, and it's not just from SAFC. Now there's been other teams that have done it, but a lot of teams are. I think it has to do with the CBA between the players and the owners. I think that's one of the hidden successes of it is teams are able to commit. They know what they're going to be committing to. Along those lines. And the third one that came in via transfer was Mitchell Tainer. And I think this is where it kind of bit San Antonio FC through here, because we've got to remember we loaned Emil Cuello to Sacramento. They loaned Mitchell Tainer to us. Cuello was able to sign on a free because I have a feeling he signed just a one-year deal. However, it does say here SAFC acquired Mitchell Tainer via transfer. And then, of course, they announced a new deal, but it was a new multi-year deal here. So I know he's a fan favorite. I've heard rumors that he follows the show. So, thank you, Mitchell, for doing that here. And, maybe one of these days we'll be able to have you on when the new social media communications guy or gal is announced through San Antonio FC. But your thoughts on Mitchell Tainter coming back to anchor the back line?
When we picked him up, as far as a loan, that changed the dynamics of the team. I think Marcina realized that we needed to get faster. We're getting killed by speed, and we didn't. Not a knock on the defenders that we had, minus Kamiri.
No, it's a knock. It was a knock because Doyle and Axel, they were tall, they were physical, but USL is played at a different speed than it was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, I think what changed everything was going against Colorado and also even our RGV. The speed was hurting us, from their forward. So once we picked him up, and then like I said, we added Courtney Ford, and then with Kamiri, where our defense became lights out, and we had the speed, we had the physicality, and like I said, also they were offensive too. They got Courtney got a goal, Tanner got his, and even Kamiri got his. So those three pretty much gelled, but to have him back, we can build a defense around him, and this kind of in the same mold. And I think Marcina's starting to understand. Like you mentioned, this is especially the Western Conference they have very fast forwards. And
Colorado Springs, watch out! Yeah. Colorado Springs ain't playing this year.
Yeah, I mean, but Colorado Springs needs to have a defense. They don't have a defense.
Well, they signed one of the stars from El Paso, so they are working on that side of the ball.
Yeah, they can't win 6-5 games every game because it's gonna. They may have scored. They may have scored the most goals in the USL, but they give up a lot. So they, like I said, defense does win championships. You can tell that OC, Orange County. Yeah. So
gotta give it up to them.
You got to give it to them.
The pipeline, San Antonio to Phoenix, is just as strong as the pipeline from RGV to San Antonio. And this year's RGV to San Antonio is defender Carter Manley. This one kind of puzzled me a little bit. I was talking to Royce, and I wish Royce was on, but we'll talk about it more in detail. When he is on the line. But he feels that this is the Ford replacement because let's be honest, the odds of Ford coming back are probably pretty small. Just because I think number one, I think the Rapids will sign him. If not, I do think a MLS team will sign him because he is a quality player. Mm-hmm. But if you do want to come back to San Antonio, we're more than welcome. We're more than happy to accept you.
A little bit of open arm.
But Carter Manley, speed as you talked about. I talked with Edson down in the valley. He's very good at crossing the ball, which if you're going to be going up and on the wings there, which we've seen, with what Courtney was able to do and along those lines. He is a little bit shorter compared to the 6'2". I think he's 5'11", 5'11", 6 foot. So he is a little bit shorter along those lines. That's why I thought maybe he would go out on the wings maybe a little bit more. But I think in kind of, talking with Edson, talking with Royce, and then John with USL Tactics, highlighted him a little bit. I think he is going to fit, in one of the center back spots, most likely on the right-hand side. So thoughts on Carter Manley, making the drive up, 281, I think it is, right? Between RGV.
He's coming to San Antonio. He's coming for better tacos over here. So yeah, that's a great signing. He's a great player. I saw some highlights of him, and I think he fits the Marcina system, just speed wise. Yeah, the height might hurt a little bit, but overall he's a great player. He's got experience, Plus he was a high draft pick too in the MLS Super Draft.
Yeah, Minnesota United.
So
to me, he reminds me a little bit of DePlane because when DePlane was in there, he was probably very similar in height, maybe even a little bit shorter, but very similar in height. But he has that speed where DePlane obviously more elder didn't have it, but with Carter Manley, he's a very quick guy. He did have 2 goals in 44 matches with RGV.
Now, one thing you did mention about crossing,
yes.
Let's say if Maloney goes down, you can actually literally plug him in there on that. We're playing the 3-4-3 again this year. You can literally plug him in Maloney's spot, and he's going to be sending crosses into Patino and to Dylan. So I think that could be a possibility there. Why they sign him, because he can play both those areas. Because like I said,
he's that versatile. Yeah.
Yeah, if RGV is playing a 4-back, we're playing a 3-back. There's a possibility. I think he could be that outside winger, the defensive winger, where like I said, where Manley or PC's at, and we can plug him in, and with him being able to cross the ball, and also he's often great, offensively, it's a win-win for us. So I think that's what Martina's going to try to look to see, bring in players that are versatile at different positions that we had that injury bug, and that hurt us a little bit early on. But like I said, we got healthy towards the end. But I think he's finding little insurance policies to make sure, because like I said, we're out. Maloney was out for quite some time, and we were missing him, his speed and his little tenacity out there. But I think having him, like I said, I think it's a good fit. Just like I said, just in case if something happens to Maloney, we can always plug him in, back on that side.
And then a clock is right twice a day, right? And SAFC tweeted that they were bringing in. They tweeted the New Zealand flag, and I was said, "Hey, I think this might who it be," and I ended up being right. So just like a clock, I'm right maybe once a day for that here, especially if you ask my wife for that here. But San Antonio signs forward Elliot Collier. He's a New Zealand international. I reached out to TJ up in Chicago. Hard worker, is what he said here. Gives full effort. Scored some goals, but I think he's one of those where he's kind of that fringe MLS talent. When he played with Memphis in 2019 in 26 matches, he had 6 goals. 6 goals, and he did play for the New Zealand national team. Did have a goal for them as well. So in 2019, he did have 29 appearances, 7 goals for that here. He did play. To be fair, he did play in 21 matches last year with Chicago Fire. Unfortunately, did not score a goal. And I know SAFC's kind of showed his highlights. To me, I think he fills the role of Nathan. Now, I'm not saying he's starting because I think he's going to be more the guy that comes on at the 60 minutes because I think you're going to have Dylan and Patino most likely are the 2 starters because that was what was supposed to have happened last year before Nathan took off. But I do see this guy being the first forward off the bench along those lines or possibly challenging Dylan. I don't think I don't think he passes up Patino. I think Patino is a guaranteed starter. But your thoughts on Elliot coming in from the Fire?
I mean, him having the MLS experience is going to help. And I think I remember the situation last year. We had Dylan out, and it was tough on our forwards, just Patino, and then finally he
was out for a while.
Then he was out a long time. We brought in Perusa just for a few games, and he got called back, and that's when Nathan really kind of had that breakout season. So I think the direction Marcinez is going is like we need some insurance policies. Okay, let's bring in another forward that has that experience that we can rely on just in case. If Patino can't go or Dylan can't go, he's got the experience to start. A few games. Maybe because like I said, this is going to be a different season.
But I think he brings that because let's be honest, Dylan isn't a dribble guy. He's not going to most likely. He's not going to be anybody off the ball. Patino, I think, can.
No.
But I don't think that's the type of position that you want him to be in for Patino. But I think Elliot Collier, just from the film that I've seen, he's more of that. That striker that can have the ball, that can kind of drive in a little bit and either dish it off or or finish it. Now, his finishing is USL quality. That's why he's not starring in MLS. But I think for championship, I think he'll score some goals this year. I have no doubt in my mind. The question is to me, is he gonna start over Dylan, or is Dylan going to be the guy that you bring in at that 60th minute for him? I think those are the 2 that you're going to rotate because I think, and we'll have Royce to go in further detail. And of course, it's season kicks off in 2 months, so we'll have plenty of time to talk formation and tactics. But I see Elliot being that first half 60-minute guy, and then Dylan coming in, or vice versa, depending on the matchup.
It's kind of like the season that we had the year before, when we had like four quality forwards. With when we brought in Perusa, and we also had what's his name besides Soniak, and who was the other guy with the short shorts? I keep forgetting his name.
Oh, you had
So, but we had like four quality forwards, that way we can kind of rotate around. I think he's going to be part of the rotation to, like I said, coming into the 60th minute or over a change of pace type of forward if we need some instant offense. Like I said, he fits
You
that
had
mold.
Di Rienzo,
So,
Solineg,
yeah,
Baloney, and Perusa were the four that you're thinking.
yeah. So I think that's what I think Marcinez is probably wanting to build as far as have some quality backups for Dylan and for Patino, and he's one, and I still think we're gonna get another forward. Maybe hopefully we'll get someone like kind of like Nathan, kind of that fast dribble, take on one that creates. And
I think they bring in a young guy though.
Yeah, and that's what we're missing, and hopefully, like I said, the scouting team does it well. Hopefully, we bring someone else from South America, and well, who knows? Maybe we can bring back Nathan because there is a logjam in that team for forwards. So, or unless they want to send us one of his teammates, because that way they can get playing time. But I think eventually, like I said, we'll find that fourth forward to take that role for Nathan as far as. Like I said, that one-on-one take on the defender and create your shot type of player.
So the last little bit of news, full schedule. Nicholas Murray, tweeted, on a tweet that I was on with Annie Kaufman with Colorado Springs. Full schedule is being released on Wednesday the 12th, is what it sounds like here. But the home opener. Detroit City. We're going to have Todd on and just set the table. It will be an adult version. There will be a harsh language on that one, so it will be explicit.
You're an owner, right?
I am an owner.
You're a part owner.
Shares. So I'm going to be San Antonio FC is going to be playing a team that quote unquote I'm an owner on. So
I think Todd
supported the move.
I think Todd does. I think he owns part of it too.
Todd is also, I think, 2 shares. I think is what he did as well. So we got the scarf. So I'll probably take my ownership scarf and see if I can get some players to sign it, even though I'm an SAFC fan.
Now you can get us a suite for that game. You can go ahead and
I should ask Preston saying, "Hey, me and Todd are owners.
Technically, you are the owners of the team. You can walk down on the field. You can be like the Jerry Jones."
So, but Detroit City. What can you say? They've worked their way up the pyramid. I wish we could say promotion wise, but they did it the American way, where they did it through the amateurs. They were a top team. They went to Nisa, pretty much swept every tournament title that Nisa had, and this will be their first year in USL Championship. It'll be interesting to see what the Northern Guard brings. I'm going to give a warning. Crocketeers, 210 Alliance, Mission City, Detroit City, Northern Guard, from everybody that you hear, is legit. So I know they start, at Keyworth, the following week. But you got to have a feeling that there will be a handful-ish of Detroit City supporters that come down, for the first game. I have a feeling we're probably going to see a pretty good turnout, just because Detroit City is one of those clubs that has followers throughout the world, not just the United States, but they're a brand team. They're up there with the Cosmos when it comes to brand of lower league soccer teams in the United States, and I would contend that they, if you were to ask a top 10 of all soccer teams in the United States, that they would be right up there with the MLS teams and the Cosmos and along those lines. So I, for one, am excited to see it. last couple of years, they've had Maxi Rodriguez, who's done an outstanding job with the growth. I think he went to Richmond, if memory serves me right, or Loudoun United. But he made the move to Detroit City last year. He was a MVP candidate. Pato, striker, played at St. Mary's, went to Corpus Christi, down in USL League 2, teammate of who's the young kid? The guy with the the young guy.
With Ollie,
right? Him, Ollie and Pato tore up League 2 with Corpus. Last year they were on there. I think they had 7-8 goals apiece with Detroit City. I think Pato was the MVP of NISA League last year.
maybe SAFC needs to steal him.
Well, Pato, I don't think Pato would come here because I don't think he'd start. And I think he has a starting thing. I think that if I was Detroit City, those are two that I try to bring back. Now, Detroit City, as of this time, has not announced any player movements. I think part of that may be kind of working through the legal contracts, of going from NISA to USL, because there is, it is a change and along those lines here. But I, for one, expect a full stadium. I, for one, expect a rowdy crowd, not only from us, but also from, Detroit City supporters here. I know Todd will be there, but Todd will not be rooting for San Antonio FC. We'll just leave it at that. Your thoughts on Detroit City making their introduction at Toyota Field?
Well, that's great for, I guess, it's for the city of Detroit, because now they have a kind of, like I said, like not saying the lower level leagues are bad. Like I said, it's more of a high profile. USL is a more high profile league, so it's great.
It's a more high profile league than NISA.
It's great for them, and who's this? Like I said, I'm sure they're going to have some television deals and so forth for that area. I think that area's been lacking, like an LMLS USL type of team, and it's great to have them in the league. It's going to be even better when we beat them on March 12th.
I do think we beat them. I've already said this here. I'm glad we're facing Detroit City in March than facing Detroit City in
October,
June or July.
Yeah.
And this might be something that you can speak to. They've let's just be honest. They've killed NISA. Pretty much any title they won, it was convincing. It wasn't close. They were on a separate level. But playing at NISA, which is D3, and there's some quality teams, but I don't even know if they're the level of USL League 1 yet. I think it's close, but they're not USL Championship quality as far as the talent that they're facing. So, and I know it's a new season, so that comes into play. But from a coach, and they retain their coach, and he's a proven coach. I forgot his name here. But to go from playing, we'll just, even in high school, let's say if you go from playing 5A, you move up to 6A, even the bottom teams in 6A are generally on par with some of the better teams as far as talent-wise, but more important, depth-wise, because I think that's the big difference between USL Championship and League 1 is the depth. 1 through 11, maybe you could probably argue maybe a team here or there, but it's that depth that comes into play. But your thoughts on Detroit City making that step up from NISA, or just in general? There is an adjustment period, correct?
Yeah, it's a big jump. It's like with any, like you mentioned, like high school, when a team jumps from, like a football team jumps from 5A to 6A, you're going to play bigger teams as far as population wise and also depth wise. And then also, I don't know how with the makeup of their team, are they going to keep that same squad, or are they going? I'm sure they're going to add bits and pieces as far as players that have had USL experience and maybe even MLS experience to get them, to compete, and it's going to take them time to build that chemistry. Unless they pull off something like Oakland Roots, which is possible.
But Oakland Roots started out slow.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm saying it's better to catch Detroit City early.
Yeah,
than I would even say it's better to catch Detroit City in their first match than catching Detroit City,
midway
3-4 games into the season, because they're going to get used to the pace. They're going to get used to the physicality, because I think there is a different level of physicality. And number 3, NISA doesn't draw as far as fans. Detroit City does. Chattanooga does, brings 4,000 to 5,000. But USL, outside of the 2 teams, and the only 2 team we have out in the West is Los Dos. They are in the East, so they'll still contend with, they got Atlanta United, New York Red Bulls, and Loudoun. So they'll have a couple of dogs as far as for the 2 teams over there. But the crowds, Louisville, Tampa, Birmingham's going to be, they're moving to UAB's new stadium. Was it Protective Field? They're going to have, I would estimate, probably 8,000 to 10,000, most likely. And if not, I know Kaylor Taylor with Hammering Down podcast is hoping for more. But they're going to have a crowd. So that'll be one interesting aspect to see. It's one thing to play at home in front of crowds at Keyworth, and they do, but playing on the road, I'm not sure Detroit City, has faced week in, week out that type of atmosphere.
And that's a longer season too, so
yes,
they're gonna play more. Like I said, you got 34 games, and then there, no favors for them. You got to contend with Louisville. You got Miami, Pittsburgh, Tampa. You got some big dogs in that conference too. That it's going to be a dogfight for them. But I think if they can do kind of, it's kind of like you mentioned the same approach with Oakland Roots. If they can, they're going to take their lumps early, but if they can kind of stick around, and I'm sure the fan
they will.
And I think their fan base will keep them motivated, and who's to say they may surprise some teams towards the end. So, like I said,
I think they're a playoff team. Don't get me wrong. I think they're a playoff team. I think it's kind of like playing Colorado Springs last year, where it was better to catch Colorado Springs earlier than later. Now San Antonio had good luck against Colorado Springs, but I do think that will be the case here. But final thoughts from you here. I know we've kind of covered quite a bit of the high school for about the first half. We got about a half hour-ish in on San Antonio FC. Any final thoughts that you have here?
Just final thoughts is, like I said, glad to have the season kick in. Hopefully, like I said, for the players out there, be safe. I know with the COVID variant, with the Omicron variant, it is more catchable. So we don't want games to get canceled. I did hear about a tournament did get canceled because of that, and I know some teams had a bout because of it. So, like I said, just be careful, be safe, and like I said, we don't want the season to happen like in 2020 and to get stopped and so forth, because I know some other
get stopped, but I do think that there will be games that won't be played or have to be rescheduled. So
just be safe on that, and like I said, just good luck to all the teams out there. Work hard, keep on doing what you need to do, and like I said, I look forward to, like I said, having the Power 15 pretty soon. Like I said, and I know we got some interesting matchups coming up, so hopefully I'll get to see some of you guys there. So don't be shy if you see me there. Say hi. Like I said, to talk about, like I said, it was great talking to a lot of the parents out there, talking about, the games, about their teams and so forth. So it's a good, like I said, I'm glad we're giving, with us and the 50-50 podcast, giving the coverage to the high school soccer that they deserve. We deserve to have here also here in the town too. So I'm happy about that. And then just like I said, hopefully everyone had a safe holiday, Happy New Year, and just be safe out there. And like I said, I got my booster a few weeks ago, right on Christmas Eve. Didn't feel a thing, no illness, so I'm good. I'm good to go there. So, but I can't wait till some of the, I don't know if the game February 12th with SC Dallas is going to be allow fans, maybe a real road trip. I know that Harry, I think El Paso, right? Road trip to El Paso.
I've already got a hotel room reserved. I've already got, me and AJ are cleared to go. So if somebody wants to ride with us, you'd have to get your own room, obviously.
No, that's fine. I'll probably ride with you.
AJ's got a bed. I got a bed. So, yeah. And Robert invites something to you if you want to bring the son, and like I said, we can pack it into the truck. But yeah, El Paso, if rumors are true, are on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome, and hopefully we'll be able to get out. My final thoughts: number one, if you're a member of the Crocketeers, there's an annual meeting at the end of January. Please, reserve to go. It's their annual. It's the big one. It's the off season. Typically, they'll have a representative from San Antonio FC there. It's going to be at 1 second here. January 29th at 1 p.m. at Alamo Beer Company for that here. So, there's going to be, officer elections, door prizes, announcements. It seems like we typically have somebody from SAFC there. They haven't said that this year or not. Hopefully we'll continue that tradition. 210 Alliance, Mission City, or, whatever the supporters are. If you guys are having annual meetings, or let us know, we'll definitely put that out, especially this time of year, as we're gearing up for the new season. Along those lines, Crocketeers also did mention that they're getting a jersey designed by Aaron Flynn for that TF concept, so that'll be exciting for it here. If you're into jerseys for that here. To me, kind of a sad day. Bob Saget passed away. I'm a 70s kid, so he was on TV a lot with the Full House. So through there, and then obviously the big one,
Sidney Portney,
Betty White. Well, Sidney Portney. Betty White, unfortunately passed away, and I loved her like a mom. So, just be careful, people. And then my final thought, this is year 4. Scott, like I said here, and I, created this to focus on San Antonio soccer from high school. I know you've kind of filled the role of Scott, with the high school. I know Royce has kind of filled my role as the SAFC expert, and I kind of fill in as the host for Scott here. So, but do want to thank Scott. Like I said here, 4 years for a podcast is quite a lot. We've seen a lot of changes, from Jose, Danielle, Todd, Rafa, Royce, Scott, obviously. Like I said here, and all the guests that we've had. I'm excited to see what year 4 brings for us here. I know Rafa's hopefully going to have some high school coaches on, for that here, or players, whatever. I think we should probably stick to coaches after what the Lee, I think it was Lee last year that had the, or no, it wasn't Lee. It was somebody that played Lee that probably talked a little bit more than they should have. Gave some bulletin board material, but I'd love to have if you're any high school coaches on that would like to kind of highlight your program, kind of talk about your season, especially after we get started here a little bit. When the Rafa rankings come out, kind of talk to coaches at that point, because they'll have a better idea of what their teams are. If you're a fan of high school soccer, if you want to come on and talk about it, please reach out to Rafa or me. Lower league soccer is going to kick in. We're going to start getting into the busy season. Obviously, SAFC, we're always going to talk a lot of SAFC here. Athenians, we're hopefully going to pick up a little bit more Athenian coverage.
US Open
And
Cup.
then, pardon me?
US Open Cup.
US Open Cup. We'll be back. Supposedly, the rounds will be announced, I want to say next couple of weeks, because it got pushed back because of possible a issue in NISA. Unfortunately, working out a team still here. And the team went to NPSL.
Corinthians.
So Corinthians will be getting more coverage because they are going NPSL, and NPSL is a league that you can track and follow along those lines. So we'll try to reach out to them to see if we can maybe try to highlight their program. But if you have any questions, comments, either DM me at as you can see at Ram and Call, at SA Soccer Roundtable. Where our DMs are always open. And like I said here, Royce, hope we see you back in the next week or so for that here, and I hope you and your family stay healthy and for that here. Rafa, I know it was a tough year last year. Hopefully your holidays went through okay, but hopefully 22 is much better for you and your family.
Yeah.
So, but I think we're going to get out of here. I said it was going to be a short show. It's still the average time frame on the show. So maybe I shouldn't curse that here, but I do want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I hope everybody has a great day, great year, and what's life without goals.